What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media outside of Gillette Stadium as the Patriots continue their prep for the Los Angeles Rams this coming Sunday in Foxboro. A reminder, we are powered by Prize Picks and Game Time. Head over to Prize Picks. Use code CLNS for $50 instantly when you play $5. And head over to Game Time if you want to come see the game here. Head over there. Use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Taylor, we're down here on a Friday, so we got some Friday notes for you. Gerard Mayo spoke this morning, and we were just out at practice. Main storyline, Christian Barmore returns to practice on Thursday. Gerard Mayo mentioned that he does have a chance to maybe play this week, but he was not at practice on Friday. Additionally, defensive lineman Dietrich Wise, who has been dealing with a foot injury, was not out here either. So, Taylor, your overall reaction to the attrition in that defensive line room. Yannick Ngakoue is obviously here. He's been at practice the last 3 days. What do you make of it, and what can they do against the Rams on Sunday?
Yeah, so first of all, with Christian Barmore, the fact that he wasn't here on Wednesday, was here Thursday, and once again isn't here Friday, tells me he could potentially have a third down package this week, because if Mayo was seriously considering a potential return for him this week, they said they were going to talk to the doctors, figure all those things out, but usually how practices go is on Wednesdays are when you work on early downs, so first downs, second downs. Thursday is when you work on third downs. Then Friday is more intense situations like red zone, goal line, short yardage, back up, all those things.
Like that,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that means, okay, Christian Barmore, his package is going to be as a rusher on third downs, where obviously he got much better against the run last year. You'd like to see him on early downs at some point this season if possible, but if he can rush the passer on third downs, that's going to be tough for a Rams offensive line that's a little bit banged up, doesn't have the best talent in the world necessarily, and then talk about Dietrich Wise. Now, he's still a veteran. I'm not going to rule him out until the team does themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if he's questionable once we get the injury report later today. But if he does end up missing the game, I think that's a direct avenue for Yannick Ngakoue.
Totally.
I think his role as that defensive end on the edge, usually opposite either Anthony Jennings or Keon White, I think that's probably where you're going to see his contributions, especially in those pass rushing packages. And if you got Christian Barmore and Yannick Ngakoue, along with Keon White and Anthony Jennings, who's looked better each week as a pass rusher now that he's been taken outside of that run stuffer box and allowed an expanded role, I think that could be some very bad news for Matthew Stafford.
Some news on the offensive side of the football as well here for the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne, who played 0 snaps last week in favor of KJ Osborne. Gerard Mayo mentioned today that he does expect Kendrick Bourne to play this week. Said he had a good week of practice as well. Alex Van Pelt talking about having some consistency both along the offensive line and the wide receiver room. So, do you think KB actually gets his snaps over KJ Osborne this week?
I do, because Gerard Mayo said he's had a good week of practice, and last week, one in practice may have had something to do with it, but I mentioned that in the Titans game, there were too many mistakes from Kendrick Bourne for a veteran receiver. Now, when I asked him about them, he did acknowledge that he's still working his way back, and just mentally, he's still trying to really catch up, because he didn't practice at all. His first practice was during the season. That can't be easy.
Right.
But also, when you asked Alex Van Pelt about it yesterday, he acknowledged that really the details weren't quite there with Kendrick, but also said that he was encouraged by what he saw. So last week, what we saw was in 2 receiver sets, it was Kayshon Boutte as the X, then Jalen Polk as the Z. We know they wanted to get those young guys more involved. And then on third downs or in 3 receiver sets, you'd see KJ Osborne at Z, Demario Douglas in the slot, Kayshon Boutte still at X. So I think that Kendrick Bourne's going to slide back into that role as a Z in 3 receiver sets. Before, he was in really all the personnel groupings as their primary Z, but I do think he's going to take over for KJ Osborne. Even more so the fact that Alex Van Pelt, when he was listing all the receivers who played well, did not mention KJ Osborne. I don't necessarily think that's an indictment on the receiver, but I think it means he's not quite doing enough, that he earned another opportunity. So, yeah, again, I think Kendrick Bourne slides into that role.
Yeah, he does a lot off the field. He's obviously a leader in the room, so I would like, and again, fans would like to probably see him actually turn it into something on the field. Was good with Mac Jones here a couple years ago. We'll see if he can get that chemistry back with Drake May. Finally here on this Friday, the legend of Joe Milton grows. He is a practice player of the week for the 3rd time this season after all 3 Patriots wins. Gerard Mayo was asked about him this morning, said he's seen a huge development from the 3rd-string quarterback, that he's running the show team. He's done a great job out there. He's getting better. Mayo also mentioned that he's one of the top users of their virtual reality headsets. I know you asked Drake May about that on Wednesday. So what are your thoughts on Joe Milton, and can they actually get something out of their 3rd-string quarterback?
Well, hopefully they're not going to get anything out of him outside of practice. Now, in practice, he's getting practice.
Trade him, maybe, something like that.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. But this season, he's getting practice player of the week every time they win. So clearly he's doing what he needs to do behind the scenes, which is a very encouraging sign. We know Joe Milton has all the talent in the world. He works extremely hard. You can really see that in his footwork and the diligence that he has for his craft. Now, at the same time, I've said that I still think he's very much a developmental backup who should not be seen anytime soon. But I think it maybe sets him up better for next offseason, where if he does have a strong training camp, then you start talking about potentially using him as a trade chip. The same way the Patriots did with Jacoby Brissett in his second season when they sent him to the Colts.
Patriots getting ready for the Rams. They'll be here on Sunday. We'll be here on Sunday as well, so make sure you keep it here on Patriots Press Pass for all of your Patriots coverage, and read all of our written work over at CLNSmedia.com.
Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube, and for all our written work, make sure you check out CLNSmedia.com.